I wanted to ask about those old buildings because in doing research, Albany is one of the older cities. It has a lot of very old, very beautiful buildings, but that on one hand is a blessing because it's beautiful to look at. On the other hand, can be difficult to adapt to new needs and new challenges and technologies. Can you talk about some of your efforts to repurpose buildings, adapt buildings, and figure out how to maintain their character, but then put them to modern use?
Sure. When we say we're old, we're really old. We date back to 1624 was when we were founded. We were chartered as a city in 1686, and we still operate under that charter, although it has been amended a few times along the way. But the the buildings here are beautiful. We have a very strong historic preservation advocacy group in the city of Albany. And we also have neighborhoods that unfortunately have really suffered from redlining and from disinvestment. There was a project that was done here under Governor Rockefeller where an entire neighborhood, 90 acres, think about that in any city, 90 acres that was taken by eminent domain, and homes and churches and schools and businesses were demolished to build an office infrastructure right next to our Capitol called the Empire State Plaza. And that Empire State Plaza was built not at street grid. It was built so that it's above the street grid. There is a concourse underneath. And so in a very 1960s and 70s era, Jetsons, everybody drives in and then drives out. That really is what happened. And it decimated our downtown. And we're still reeling from that. It really resulted in obviously the loss of a lot of population. There were about close to 10,000 people that lived in that neighborhood that were displaced. There were, sort of 1970s era public housing that got built and is now obsolete. And so that has created a lot of challenges where even though these historic buildings are beautiful, if you were to rehab them, you'd be underwater immediately. And that makes it very difficult. There aren't a lot of funding sources out there that say, yeah, we'll give you money to rehabilitate this building. And we know it's going to be, worth less than what it costs us to rehabilitate it. And so we've worked on grants. We've worked on finding the funding that is needed to ensure that we're able to invest in these buildings. We've worked to be creative. And yes, in some instances, we've had to demolish because buildings were too far gone. But we've reduced the number of vacant buildings in the city by more than 30%. We've seen some real great investment, and a lot of that investment has been in affordable housing. So we're not talking about gentrification that prices folks out of their neighborhood, but we still have a ways to go. That's an area that it took a long time for us to get to where we are, and we're going to continue to have to work to grow out of that.